morning, so please put all your papers, take everything off your desk, and sorry. Well, hi, my name's Mike Oles. I'm the organizing director for Hoosier Interfaith Power Light. I'm based out of the Indianapolis area, but we are a statewide organization working across the state on issues that affect the life of the church and congregations, not just the Christian church, but Jewish, Muslim, Hindu, Unitarian, people who have a lot of belief, people who don't have a lot of belief, but people who want to make change and make a difference in Indiana's environment, both from a very personal level, from a spiritual and theological level, and on a larger systemic level. And my job is to be the systemic person. So thinking about how we, as people of faith, in communities across the state of Indiana, work together to build power and make change when it comes for caring for creation. So is that exciting or what? So just in the last month, on Thursday night I was in Fort Wayne meeting with a group. On Tuesday night I was with our Indianapolis group. Last month I was up in Gary meeting with in Gary meeting with people where the power company NIPSCO up in Gary wants to raise rates by like $25 a month, which would have a huge impact on some of the most vulnerable citizens up in Northwest Indiana. Today I'm in Evansville. It's my first time really ever in Evansville, so I'm excited to be here. And excited that there's a lot of opportunity to come back and really be part of something exciting. This is a huge turnout today, and I just feel real excited about what's going on because I've been to a lot of these conferences, and I think this is the biggest one I've ever been to. So this is very exciting, and it looks like people in Evansville and the tri-state area are fired up for some change and some systemic changes for some advocacy. Can we just go around and introduce ourselves real quick? And and if you're connected to a faith community or a group that you want to brag about, let me know. We'll just make it real quick. Again, my name is Mike Oles from Brownsburg, Indiana. I'm a United Methodist. Grew up at Calvary United Methodist Church in Brownsburg. Any journey into activism, any journey into this type of systemic change work really involves your personal story. What motivates you to get off the couch and go do something? What drives you? Why on a Saturday morning, second week of January, are we here talking about this stuff when we could be doing 100 other things? And so it's just really exciting to hear everybody in the room and their story and what you're about and what you're trying to achieve. And again, just a fantastic morning to gather. There's a lot of power in this room this morning, and a chance that I think to really, we have an opportunity to really change Evansville, to change the tri-state area, to really change the state of Indiana, and make sure we have 100 whole sun designs that your solar companies, building and develop the local economy, creating clean energy for everybody, and getting rid of our biggest polluting issues. My family has a house on the Ohio River up towards past Jeffersonville, and between Jeffersonville and Madison, and the Ohio River is very important to my family and what it's about, and I know there's just coal plants up and down this valley, and my parents' house is within 5 miles of two of the largest coal plants in the country, and so there's a lot of work to do here in the Ohio Valley and Indiana. So I wanted to just read because Hoosier Interfaith Power Light, we really are coming from a faith perspective, but we love the Siri Club. We work hand in hand with the Siri Club and secular groups, and it's all about building power and conversation and relationships to make change. And I just wanted, this is from the Green Bible, which is an awesome resource. The Green Bible, anytime there's an environmental mention or a creation mission or something about justice, they outline it in green. So you just look for the green, you can read it, and there's like over 2,000 verses that touches on environmental issues and justice issues in the Bible. So you hear a lot about, let's say, sexuality in the Bible. There's 4 verses on sexuality in the Bible. There's 2,000 verses on the environment and the climate and taking care of God's creation. But to me, one of the powerful voices in the Bible are the Old Testament prophets. The people who speak out for justice, they challenge authority, they challenge what's going on in their society. And I got this two brief texts. So this is Jeremiah. This is him talking to the leadership of his time and the people of his time. I looked to on the earth, and lo, it was waste and void. Jeremiah is echoing the opening words of Genesis. His vision traces a step-by-step dismantling of the created order. First the light disappears, then the mountains shake loose from their foundations. Humans and birds disappear from sight, and then comes the anguished conclusion. This is Jeremiah. I looked, and lo, the fruitful land was a desert, and all its cities were laid in ruins. Before the Lord, before his fierce anger. That's Jeremiah. And then here's Isaiah, the major prophet of the Old Testament. And he's really pissed off here. So, this is pretty intense. The earth lies polluted under its inhabitants, for they have transgressed laws, violated the statutes, broken the everlasting covenant. Therefore a curse devours the earth, and its inhabitants suffer for their guilt. Does that sound like this is written like 2,500 years ago, 3,000 years ago? Does that sound relevant to today at all? Does that ring bells to what we're kind of experiencing in our society and here in Evansville, here across Indiana? And the writer here he just writes something that we deal with every day as people, of activists and people concerned with the well-being of our communities, the well-being of our earth. In their own historical context, both prophets were addressing what we would call national crises, economic injustice, failures of political and religious leadership, false worship. Probably none of us would see in such evils a direct threat to the physical integrity of the planet. Yet Isaiah and Jeremiah insisted upon the truth we have too long overlooked. The moral order of the world cannot be neatly separated from its physical order. Their descriptions of the undoing of creation and covenant are more than metaphors for trauma. They express the insight that human sin strikes fundamentally at the integrity of creation. Perhaps only now can we appreciate the full import of these prophetic visions, 26 centuries or more after they were recorded. So it's 2,600 years ago. So do you encounter, in your congregation or in your community, do you encounter this? Economic injustice, failures of political and religious leadership, and false worship. And I really think what I struggle with is the failure of political and religious leadership. I was talking to somebody earlier and talked about how a lot of pastors and a lot of religious leaders are really, really afraid to engage in these issues.
It's personal. Mm-hmm. Everything is personal. It's not, but if you're going to come out like this, you're going to be against somebody that's got power. Mm-hmm. And that somebody that's got power is the parishioner that sits in your pew and mm-hmm. might or might not give you money.
Yeah, exactly. It's happens a lot. And that's I'm from a conservative suburban community. I'm trying to get our church had a chance to get free solar panels and they rejected it because of just that sort of mentality and so there's a lot of work we got to do in our community. And so I just wanted to. So this is our brochure that we made last year to really kind of highlight some of the really strong work and organizing that's happened across the state, and really what we did to really build up and get beyond these hurdles, because this is some tough work, but it's exciting work, and you just meet so many awesome and cool people, like all of you all here today. I just want to huddle up, give everybody a hug, like, yeah, let's go do this. We can do it, make it happen. So this is to me, I was driving. This is off of Highway 31 south of Columbus. This sunflower field. It was like a summer day. Just driving by and came upon this field of sunflowers. It just was like, that's God's creation. It's us creating beauty with God and God's creation. To me, that was just like a symbol of this movement that we can create beauty. We can create a unified movement that really captures from a faith perspective, caring for creation and doing the right thing. This right here, this picture right here on top, that's the Inglewood Christian Church in Indianapolis. And Inglewood is, so they're about to open Inglewood is about to open a building for senior citizens, senior housing, that is going to create more energy than it uses, and house senior citizens in one of the lowest income neighborhoods in Indianapolis. They took over a warehouse, and an old abandoned warehouse, and are creating food. They're creating enough food. They sold it to for Kroger and Whole Foods out of this warehouse. They can't grow the food fast enough to sell it. It's that popular, and creating jobs and economic opportunities in some of the most disadvantaged neighborhoods in Indianapolis. And they started up by really putting solar panels up on the roof. They had an old building. They worked very hard on how they could better care for God's creation, and so they have a great preschool, and so every year they take the preschoolers up to show the solar panels up on the roof, and they have become a real strong advocate for renewable energy in Indianapolis, and the pastor there is a conservative guy. He likes to act like he's a conservative guy, but he's friends with the governor. He's friends with a lot of evangelical megachurches, and he's able to kind of speak some truth and build some relationships across aisles that are really powerful just by being present in the community. So that I'm going to jump over here. This right here, this photo with his "Vote Yes," that comes from the Harding Street coal plant campaign in Indianapolis. And so does anybody spend a lot of time in Indianapolis, or is that, well, yeah. You spent a lot of time on the campaign, right? Yeah. So what's the Harding Street coal plant? What is that thing?
Well, IPL produces all of Indianapolis electricity, and it's powered by coal. And the coal plants themselves are 50 years old or older. So no matter what happens, IPL is faced with upgrades because, as you know, everything wears out. Just by the very nature of the universe, things wear out. So what we did in the campaign was say, look, you have to update these. You have to, conform to the mercury standards that are just putting out. You have to conform to these new regulations. So rather than, doing the clean coal route, which is what they wanted to do, we campaigned in all the neighborhoods around the city. We had different teams going to different townships and boots to the ground, going door to door, making phone calls, and getting people to talk to their representatives on council to put added political pressure onto IPL to say we really don't want clean coal. That's not a good investment. And so we wanted them to shut down the coal plants by 2020, and they agreed to do it by 2016. Granted, they're using...
we were told, right, that
Yeah.
this was impossible. This was
Right.
an impossible dream.
Yeah.
IPL, this big, powerful utility company, they would never listen to us. They would never listen to neighbors. They would never listen to anybody. They bought and owned the city council. They thought they bought and owned the legislators, and they went from within weeks from saying we could never do it
Right.
to shutting the plant down like within the next 6 weeks, which will clean up Indianapolis's air, and for the first time, asthma rates and pollution will go dramatically down. This plant blew coal dust all over the place. How's it going?
Sorry.
Yeah.
Stop at 11.
Okay.
And the break's only gonna be 10 minutes because we're that far behind.
Okay.
So you've got
Okay.
6 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm from Pike County,
Okay.
Petersburg,
Yes.
IPL
Yes.
plant in
We should talk.
Petersburg.
Yes.
Right, so they're not talking about that plant.
No, this
No.
is So Petersburg is another plant that IPL owns, which which is very problematic also. But this was the plant on the edge of Indianapolis that covered 75% of the city and 500,000 people with really nasty pollution, from mercury to
Arsenic.
smog, arsenic to
Right, the weather pattern too, so like
Yeah.
the weather would just blow all that up. For
And people are like, oh, this could never happen. You guys are up against, Goliath. And then we read the story to them about David and got our slingshots out and build a movement. And one of the things about this campaign is that it was really, really hard to get big time religious leaders involved. I couldn't even get a mentor of mine who was a big progressive Methodist pastor to do anything. There was a lot of fear on this, and so we, instead of worrying about the people who wouldn't do anything, we just went out and found the people who would do something. and see what happened. And so we got over 50 groups and churches to pass the resolution calling for the end of Harding Street. And so, and also what was also cool, this campaign broke down a lot of racial barriers. As you might see, that there's a lot of racial issues in our country, and there's a lot of times people of different color don't work together a lot or have a chance to really get to know each other. And the exciting thing about the Harding Street campaign is that it involved some of the poorest and some of the richest people in town. It involved black people, white people, every type of person. And this is, I just love some of these photos. Like this photo right here is our team on the northwest side of Indianapolis that got the first Republican to make a commitment to saying that he on city council to to retire this coal plant. And this guy right here, his name is Jared Evans, and he just got elected to the city council in Indianapolis. Because of his experience of being involved in this campaign. In Indianapolis, we have a gerrymandered city council. That night it came down to 12 and 12 people. Who's going to control the city council? Jared's race was an upset win, so the environmentalists have a huge role now to play on Indianapolis' city council. And a lot of that's because of the experience that people got by just going and talking to their neighbors and organizing and being out there. Yeah.
I just have a quick question. So you shut down this, what was it replaced with? I mean,
Yeah.
where's that energy coming from?
Well-
What other community is paying the price for that one being shut down? I mean, I'm trying to see the big picture. You won one little battle, which is fantastic, but what's the repercussion? Where's the energy
It
coming?
It was a big battle because it was one of
Well, I know.
it
But
was
in
literally
their eyes, it's a
Indianapolis,
little
the
battle.
capital of our states. It was ruining our environment. So they made a commitment to change it over to gas
Okay.
right now. But now we have enough power. We're ready to talk about Petersburg plant. We're ready to talk about let's invest. Let's go. Indianapolis should, as our state capital, should go carbon neutral. Like we have the energy and power to.
And where's the gas coming from? I mean, where is it being extracted
all over the
from?
country. I mean, it's
Okay, and is it fracking?
so
I mean,
I'm
do you
sure some
know
of
if
it is,
fracking
yeah.
is involved in it? Because that's another issue, that when people think about going gas, well, there's a whole, I dealt with it out in Colorado because it's become a huge issue out there.
Yeah.
Of course,
We're
Pennsylvania has a lot of things.
anti-fracking too.
But I have a concern, we shut down one problem to create the back end of another problem. And at some point, people stop listening, because what we're doing is just bringing them the next problem as opposed to another solution.
So
I hear what you're saying,
I mean, I'm excited for you, I don't wanna, I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer,
No, I
I'm
see
just
your
trying to
point.
think down the road.
Right, and we in the campaign, that was a concern of ours, but we were looking at it as baby steps. That's something that we could get the power company to agree to, and so, but then we also are still, I mean, we haven't retired our boots. Like, we're still doing legislative work to make sure that those avenues for opening up, making sure, we're trying to put the stopgap on legislators who want to create legislation that will stop, like, solar development
Right.
and green energy development. So that's kind of where we are now.
Fantastic.
We'll jump ahead. That's right though, right? Nobody likes fracking. We want to go carbon neutral.
No, I
We
was
wanna
just
go-
trying to get a
Yeah, yeah.
picture of what,
Yeah.
this all sounds great, and I am enthusiastically fantastic.
Right.
But then I want to hear the backside of what the thought is on that.
So
Because if you're not thinking ahead about where you're bringing your circle to, your battle, that initial battle in the end won't matter.
So let's jump ahead because last year there were some very nasty pieces of legislation in the state house that so we shut down one coal plant, which is a great victory. But utilities aren't very happy that they're for the first time being challenged in real ways, public ways. And so last year they ran one bill through the state house that destroyed energy efficiency efforts in Indiana. We'll touch on that, but it's a very bad deal. They basically found a way to make huge profits out of energy efficiency. So even if you're saving energy, they still can make money off of you, even if you're saving energy. But then the other big point was the solar bill. They wanted, as you guys knew firsthand, they wanted to pass a very nasty anti-solar bill that would have basically ruined solar businesses. It would have made it very expensive for individuals to get solar panels, and they would shift economic models so that that nobody in their right mind who looked at their bank account would buy a solar panel. Was anybody there that day in this room? Were you there?
I wasn't.
Okay. It was, but this is Wyatt Watkins, who's a Baptist minister in Indianapolis. And if you look at these pictures right here, that's the entire utility committee in the Indiana General Assembly. And they thought they were going to ram this through the State House and get it done. And so there is Wyatt using very prophetic words, speaking from a faith perspective, but we had small business owners, community people, just a lot of people that day, consumer advocates, Citizens Action Coalition, everybody was there just to tell the story about why this was a bad idea. And we had over 200 people in the room that day. They had to put us in 3 different rooms because they thought this was going to be a small little hearing that they could just, ram through the State House. There is a great footage from Evansville, though, that just tells you how this campaign worked. I don't know if anybody's seen the Indiana Lawmakers segment where Ron Bacon, Representative Bacon, and Representative Big Number. So what happened at that?
You're talking about the local meet your legislators?
Yeah, but there's actually a TV footage where they're being interviewed, and they talk about the response to this bill. Have you seen that?
If I know what you're talking about,
Okay.
I was part of that.
Okay, yeah. So what happened?
Yeah, there were a lot of meet your legislator meetings, and there were so many people showing up to fight these bills going through. If you're talking about a specific event, I'm not sure.
Okay, no, but you're right. So people in Evansville really did great work to kill this bill, and because you have some great solar companies, and so but on TV on the boring Indiana Lawmaker show, which is like pretty boring to watch, but very informative. So it's worth watching. But they asked Representative Bacon and Representative McNamara, like, so what do you think about House Bill 1320, the anti-solar bill? And they're like, we can't support it. We can't support it because we have gotten so many phone calls, and so many of our constituents are pissed off about this bill. We can't support it. Now they said it in more wordier terms than that, but they're like, hell no, we ain't gonna support this. And those were dyed-in-the-wool Republican lawmakers saying they couldn't support this bill. And it was because everyday people in the tri-state area said, no, you can't do this to us. We want a different future.
Senator Thomas has been to our job sites. He's getting on board.
Yeah. Senator Thomas, one of the most conservative lawmakers in the Senate, is
Who's that?
Senator Jim Thomas. Yeah. On the morning of that hearing, though, I was walking across the State House sidewalk, and I was talking to this woman who's actually Senator Thomas's wife, and I didn't realize that, so I was explaining to her what we were doing, and she was like, well, there's 2 sides to that story, but anyway, so this bill actually got out of committee, but it died because Brian Bosma, the Speaker of the House, said we can't do this. And even though we didn't have the numbers, we had the numbers because the people of Indiana spoke out, and so this real quick, this is a group from Muncie, Indiana that came down to that hearing. This meeting here is a meeting with the new mayor of Indianapolis before he was elected, saying, hey, we want Indianapolis to be a leader on climate change and a leader on clean energy. And so he's the mayor now, and he has to listen to us, especially since the city council is so pro-environment right now in Indianapolis. And then this is the from a faith perspective, this is one of the coolest, most spiritual events I've ever experienced. Is that this is at one of the largest African American churches in Indianapolis, in Hawesville neighborhood, if you know Indianapolis at all. And we had over 50 churches get together that night, 100 people, and we had a prayer vigil that Harding Street would be closed. And at the end of this prayer service, City Council member Zach Addison gets up and says, I just got a text. We have enough votes for the entire City Council to say we want Harding Street retired or closed down. And that was at our prayer vigil. And then within 48 hours, Indianapolis Power Light called us up and said, hey, we're gonna in 2016, when we were asking for 2020, in 2016, so next month they're gonna, again, shut the coal plant down and transition into natural gas. And so we still have a lot of work to do, but people of faith are doing this across the state now. And campaigns here in the tri-state area are really beginning to kick off. in Fort Wayne, South Bend, Muncie, Gary. This is a statewide movement that's really coming together right now to really change the dynamics. And even when we feel like our pastors are too scared to act, or there's people out there who want change, so we just got to keep networking and working together and finding our way to navigate this so that, people are concerned and worried, but we don't know what to do. And by building a powerful movement together and being supportive of each other and having a little bit of fun, we really can make some big change. And I'll end it here. And so this is from, so these are the prophets also. This is actually from Psalm 65, about the victory of creation. Your wagon tracks overflow with richness, the pastures of the wilderness overflows. The hills gird themselves with joy, the meadows clothe themselves with flocks. The valleys deck themselves with grain, they shout and sing together for joy. And that's really what we're trying to build here in Indianapolis, to go from desolation, or in Indiana, from desolation to
What was that,
joy.
Jeremiah?
That was Jeremiah 4:26.
4:26.
4:23, yeah, 4:23, 4:26. Sir, do you have a comment?
Well, I think she said 11 o'clock.
Yeah, I think we're ending our time together, so please fill the network and talk the rest of the day.
Thank you, Mike.